Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again. I'm going to bring you another video. This video is going to be doing my weekly review for The Walking Dead. This one will be of Season 3, Episode 13, which is called Arrow at the Doorpost. As always, my reviews will contain spoilers, so for anyone who has not seen the episode yet, you probably don't want to watch this because I'm going to spoil the shit out of it for you. However, there wasn't too much that actually happened in this episode. I mean, it was a very suspenseful episode overall because you have the first meeting between Rick and the governor face to face, actually getting to meet each other. The governor's troll smile, which was pretty funny. Just overall, I thought that was pretty cool. You have the intensity of sort of what's going to happen. Is something going to happen? The angles looking through of where you have Rick and the governor sitting at the table, and you've got like a little window part there where it's kind of looking through, and you're thinking, is someone going to just walk up and just blast Rick, or something going to happen? Does the governor have a plan? What's going to happen? All this stuff. You've got Daryl outside with Martinez, and they're kind of going back and forth at each other. You think, is something going to happen with them? Which one's more badass? You know, they're in their sort of badass competition of who can kill zombies better, who can have better zombie kills. And of course, Daryl wins with the knife, the throwing knife, which was pretty awesome. Zombie kill of the week? Yeah, a zombie kill of the week for sure. Absolutely. But aside from that little scene where you have them killing walkers there, and adding on, Merle and Glenn's little scuffle. I wouldn't even call it a full-fledged fight, but a scuffle. It's pretty funny how Maggie jumps in and puts a sleeper hold on Merle. And then Beth is the one who comes up and fires the gun. That was pretty clever. But aside from those parts right there, no action. No action at all. Nothing really that really grabbed the viewer, I think. Again, music at the end. Oh, the music at the end this season's been really bad. Whereas last season it was just spot on. I think this season it just doesn't match for me. I'm hearing the music, I'm watching, and I'm like, this doesn't match, man. It doesn't match. And I know some people, and everybody who watches my videos loves The Walking Dead. I obviously love The Walking Dead too. But I don't want to sound biased when I'm doing my reviews and try to act like everything is gravy when I see something that either I feel like doesn't fit, doesn't match, or I just didn't like overall. So again, I didn't like the way the music fit the scenes. Didn't feel like it matched up very well. And they probably could have added a bit more action to this episode. At least have something happen. I mean, come on, something. Now, it is kind of like a calm before the storm type of situation because the big finale is coming up pretty soon. We're going to see, probably lots of character deaths, lots of things happening, and we're going to get to find out whether or not the governor's story arc is going to carry through into Season 4, which is something that I'm probably the most excited to find out whether or not Season 4 is going to also have the governor in it, or if this whole thing is going to be resolved this season, and then that's it. We won't see or hear from the governor again. Will he be killed off? Will he, I don't know. Will they run away? Will he just sort of fade into obscurity, or what they're going to do with that, which is probably at this point for me, what it's all really about, because I can't wait to see how Season 3 just ends off. That'll be really, really exciting to see. But this was a lot like a filler episode. I mean, it wasn't totally a filler episode. It wasn't totally uneventful, but at the same time, it kind of was. Now, it does make sense, I think, logically, that you would have Rick and the governor with Andrea in the middle trying to sort of solve the situation without too much bloodshed. It does seem like the governor, based on what he said, really just wants Michonne, and then after that wants to kill Rick, maybe Merle, a couple others, that's fine, and doesn't really care about the rest. We'll just leave the rest or whatever, maybe hunt them down later, or just wait until they starve or leave or whatever the situation may be. He doesn't seem to care too much about the rest. He just seems to want to eliminate definitely Michonne and Rick and maybe Merle and whoever else. But other than that, he doesn't seem to really care a whole lot. Because, again, you have groups like Tyrese's group out there. They don't really pose a threat to the governor's group. But with Rick's group at the prison, you have Rick and the others. I mean, Rick is the type of leader that he does pose a threat to the governor. And, he's the type of person that could actually kill the governor and maybe take over Woodbury or do something like that. I could definitely see that happening. So he would be worried about that. So that kind of makes sense. Seeing the two in their scenes with the whiskey and everything was pretty interesting. Just very suspenseful because you're always sitting there like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? They kind of psych you out because they make you think there's something going to happen and nothing really does. The problem with that is in retrospect, you look back on it and you're like, oh man, that just wasn't wasn't that great. Just wasn't that great at all. So we'll go through it step by step, and I'll comment on each scene as I always do. But that's basically my overall thoughts on the episode. So lots of excitement right off the bat with a meeting. We saw it in the sneak peek, which was released online a week before. Rick and the governor meet. Andrea is asked to leave after Andrea is Martinez. Yeah, Martinez and Milton, almost said Michonne there, roll up, and Daryl kind of meets with Martinez, and they kind of feel each other out a little bit, if you know what I'm saying. Then Rick essentially shows the map of the boundaries. So, tells them, if you stay on this side, we'll stay on that side. Everything should be okay. It should work out, and we'd be able to make peace, and that'd be it. And then, of course, the governor says he wants their surrender. He's not interested in setting boundaries or anything like that. Okay, so then they talk about Merle a little bit, and the governor kind of mentions how Merle gets the dirty jobs done. And I really like this line here where he kind of talked about how Andrea told him about Shane and how, Rick may have misjudged Shane earlier on too. And to the point where the governor even says that the baby might not be his, or, alludes to that. I thought that was a really clever line. I like that a lot. That was really kind of interesting because nobody has mentioned that as of yet. Nobody's said, hey, that baby could be Shane's, or nothing in the show has sort of led towards that, which is an interesting topic as well, too, and something that they haven't addressed yet in the TV series, but I think they did address in the comic book almost right away, pretty sure. I don't remember exactly the lines, but pretty sure. So then Martinez calls Daryl a pussy. Daryl shows him up by using the throwing knife kill, which was awesome. Herschel and Milton talk. Now that was kind of funny when Milton asks him about seeing his foot and says it would be important data to retrieve. It's just, I don't know. It's just a funny scene. I like that a lot. Rick and the governor talk about their wives while they're drinking, sort of start to feel each other out a bit, and maybe start to bond a little, I guess. Merle's losing it. A good line from him. Guy cops the feel of your woman. And that was great. So they start fighting. The whole thing with Beth and the gun. And let's see. Andrea finds out about the situation with Maggie from Herschel, which was pretty cool. Which did add some kind of intrigue to it as well, because from Andrea's perspective, if that happened, obviously she's not going to want anything to do with the governor once she kind of figures that out, which she has. But then at the same time, Herschel kind of tells her, lets her know that if she is to leave and go to the prison, even though she belongs with them, that really would give the governor a reason to all-out attack and try to get her back, which would make perfect sense because he would try to do that, even though he already has probably enough reason with Michonne being there. Plus, he's just a maniac anyway, so he's going to attack regardless. But you get what I'm saying. If she does leave, that would make it even more likely. But that also makes it more likely, I would think, that in the finale, that Andrea could potentially be the one to kill the governor. Either her, Merle, Michonne. I mean, there's lots of different possibilities at this point, but she's definitely probably your top candidate, I think, to kill the governor when it actually happens. Plus, in the preview for next week, they did kind of mention a few things about the possibility of that happening. Also, at the end of the episode, you have Milton. He's talking to the governor and essentially kind of finds out from the governor himself that he's an evil bastard and that Milton is actually not on the right side. He knows that the governor is just evil as hell now, whereas before he may not have really realized it because the governor hides it so well. I think he really is going to be able to see that the governor is good to the people who are there, but to people who are not part of Woodbury, obviously not good to them, that's for sure. So, because Milton does seem like, he's kind of like that reserved, kind of like nerdy type of guy, but he does really seem like, he's an honorable type of man. I mean, he's got like he brushes his hair to the side with a comb every day and all that. He tucks his shirt into his pants, the whole bit. Yeah, makes sense. So that works. Let's see, going on from there. Okay, the governor wants to make a trade. So he wants to trade Michonne or essentially trade Michonne in order to allow Rick and them to live there. Which we find out later, we know that sooner or later the governor wants to kill Rick anyway, at the very least, and probably Merle too. So regardless, he's not going to. I mean, that won't satisfy him. Even if Rick hands over Michonne, he's not going to be like, okay, here's Michonne, and and that's it. Like he said to Martinez, if they show up in a couple days, shoot them all down except for Michonne, leave her alive, and then what is he going to do to her? Probably torture the hell out of her, which would be brutal. So we'll see what happens to that, because in the comic book series, the governor does torture Michonne. So maybe Rick will decide to give Michonne up and try it, which would be kind of, I mean, it would make sense. Is it in character? It kind of is, because he wants to protect Carl. He doesn't really know Michonne too well. He just said in clear that, when he was talking to Carl about Michonne, that, she's not necessarily like them. Like, she's not one of the group. She is, but she isn't. She's not one of the group like Maggie's one of the group or Glenn's one of the group or anything like that. She's still fairly new to the group versus in the comic books where she's been there for a long time. So that's one of the most interesting things I think that happened in the episode, is that event coming up. Herschel, of course, when Rick's talking to him at the end of the episode, he's kind of saying that, he's hoping that Herschel can talk him out of it, because obviously Herschel's a man of God. And I think he will. I think he will talk him out of it, even though, yes, he's got to look after his daughters. He's got Beth and Maggie and Glenn. But at the same time, I think he's still, as a man of God, he's gonna try to talk Rick out of it, or he will talk him out of it. So either way, that's definitely going to be really exciting to see what happens with that. And I think that's about it. Merle losing it too. I forgot to mention things about that. Oh yeah, the stupid scene with Glenn and Maggie where they're supposed to be on watch and they start, taking off all their clothes, and oh man, it was too long. It's just too long. It's like, okay, we get the message. All right, we get it. Move on. Anyway, but it's like, who's keeping watch if they're going to be doing that? So I don't know. I just expected something to happen as a result of them doing that, and nothing did. So, that was whatever. All right, let's see. I think that's about it, man. I mean, I don't really have much more to say about the episode. I could try to go on a little bit longer, but I'm going to end up repeating myself. It was a suspenseful episode. It was, a good amount of fun, kind of like a calm before the storm. That's really all I got to say about it. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's definitely not one of the best episodes of the season. It's not a bad episode because it does build the story a lot. It builds the plot. You do need that, of course. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, an hour, a show, it's going to be like 40 minutes with commercials, 45 minutes or so, to have almost no action except for a couple lackadaisical zombie kills where they're just kind of showing off. It was suspenseful. It kept you on the edge of your seat, but at the same time, there was no payoff, at least not yet. So, I mean, I guess in succession, there'll be a payoff, and you got to have episodes like this to lead up to the big ones where the big payoffs are. But as a standalone episode by itself, it wasn't great. It was just okay. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Let me know what you think is going to happen with Michonne. Is Rick going to give her up? Do you think Herschel will be able to talk him out of it? What do you think is going to happen with Merle? And in 2 days, next week's episode, what do you think Rick's going to do? Is he going to do a fake out, act like he's going to do it, and then not do it? Is he going to all-out attack? Let me know what you guys think. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. My predictions for next week's episode should be up either tomorrow or the next day, maybe at night, or, yeah, within the next 2 days. Anyway, that's it for this one. See you for the next one. This is Trev. Same peace.